Argos here for round 16, the final round in season 7 here at RLH, of course, with the C6 category. And who is the first car out on track? It is the Ferrari of Crankybot. He's the first car onto the circuit this evening, making his way up and into the middle sector now, and the cars all following now, coming out of the pit lane. You can see on the map there, making their all the way down towards turn number 4. Pit lane exit feeds out on the exit of turn 3. We could see some duels down towards turn 4, the end of the second DRS straight. Crankybot leading the way and been one of the quick drivers as of late. Really come alive in the second half of this season, challenging up at the front. And after having a bit of a late start to this season, didn't take part in the first couple of rounds. Now one of the drivers sort of at the forefront, fighting right up at the top. And we'll see how he gets on his first flying lap. Get the lap data up. And we'll see now down towards turn number 1 we go. Breaking the car, what gear is he not for? A bit of third gear. Opting for that sort of traction rather than sort of that instant acceleration, and off and away now. Keeping it very tidy there. It's very, very easy to invalidate in that sort of first couple of corners in the centre S's. If too aggressive on the turn. In 16.8 is good first sector time. Coming down towards turn 4, little bit missing that apex a little bit on the inside, but now as he can make his way up the hill towards a very intricate car, he's going to start intricate part. He's going to start catching a few cars. I think there's a Red Bull that has spun around. I think I'm going to guess there was only one Red Bull, and he says he's on an outlap, so I'm not too sure who that is. I think it might still be Skipper. Crankybot, well, playing with the curbs there. That could have been very, very close up towards the hairpin now running down to Magulio. He's going to have a car. The Haas car was going to get out of the way very nicely. No, it's not. That's a bit of a kerfuffle in the evaluation. I think we could see maybe a penalty coming there as the Haas now makes a trip across the grass. Who will be the next car to come towards the line? Annoyed Gamer on a lap, but I think it's his teammate. Octavio is flying up now, making the climb up to the top of the hill and towards the line. DRS wide open, and he comes across the line. It's going to be a 1 minute 8.3, and it's a very good initial lap in the session. Now the time's going to be coming in quick. Flying with Val goes into P2, first driver into the 1 minute 7. It's a very good time from the Williams driver. It's Gerbs into P3, tantalisingly close to Octavio, and it's another Alfa Romeo. That Felix just finishing his lap. He's a 1 minute 9.9, so just getting into the sub 10 club, but currently at the bottom out of all the drivers that have set a lap time, and it's Annoyed Gamer that goes into P4. Racing Point of Ferrari just about to finish the laps. Dan goes into 6th, and Ralph is into P2. Which McLaren is on his way to the end of the lap. It's Big Bear flying with Val. We're still on provisional pole. And then Big Bear towards the line. It's going to be pole position. Provisional pole position for the time being. 1 minute 7.6. And was in a lobby with Big Bear and Flying with Val a couple of days ago, and both of them on it very, very much for this race. Both of them put a lot of work into this one, finding the speed. And who is that crossing line? Baker just set a lap time, and also Calais goes into P4, just a little bit behind Ralph. Those two at the front of the guys who are in the 1 minute 8 club. And the Ferrari of Crankybot goes into P4, so that time was on a set of tyres that did an extra lap. Of course, we saw his little bit of misfortunes when trying to lap the Haas driver. But looking back at the championship, final round, Flying with Val currently holds on to that P3. Ralph will be P2. That's already done. Big Bear has won the championship. That's already decided. But the battle for P3 has been Flying with Val and Annoyed Gamer. Annoyed Gamer does have to have a really, really strong race this evening. I think probably has to win to try and jump Val. Calais currently sat in P5. Could get Annoyed Gamer. Will be a big ask for the Romanian driver. And then we got 4 Dutch drivers straight after that. Crankybot currently leading the way in 6. He could jump. Calais in the battle for P5. So we'll see how all that unfolds over the coming laps. So far, completely dry in qualifying. And judging by some of those times, I think we've got a dry race ahead of us, or at least a majority dry race. Because I believe they're all dry sort of dry setups on the cars. But Asmith will be the next car to start a flying lap. We've got a few cars just on their out laps at the moment. Only 4 cars on the track. It looks like the Haas driver of Respirit will make it 5 to the 5 cars who haven't set a lap already, about to make their way back out onto the circuit for what could potentially be their first time. And Asmith climbs out of Zhengzhou and down towards turn number 1. The McLaren driver, of course, winning the Constructors' Championship quite a few races ago now. We'll see how he gets on. Keeps it nice and tidy through turn 1, through turn 2. Keeps the speed up, but, you know, make sure he doesn't invalidate there. We've seen how easy it is to do in the past. We'll see what his first sector is going to be looking like. 16.9, so just sneaking into the sub-17s. Good initial first sector for the McLaren driver. Runs a little bit wide. Could cost him a bit of time there. I don't think he would have lost out in terms of pick up penalty, and I don't think he did. So he can carry on without a worry. But he has invalidated it there, actually. So in the end, no improvements that time around. It's a 16.9 for the Red Bull of Skipper. And which is it, the Renault of Always Rick just behind it. He's invalidated as well, so not a great run for some of the guys that are trying to set lap times at the moment. Skipper 16.9 in that first sector. And we'll see what he can do now. On board the Red Bull driver to try and get the power on, using all the circuit there and up towards his hairpin. Of course, Alex Albon was famously spun around. That's probably what he's most known for at the moment. Coming towards the end of this middle sector, see how he's faring up. Apparently he's gone purple. It's a 35.2 on my screen. I'm seeing now as he climbs the hill and towards the line. Is he going to be coming in? He's not taking the shortest run he possibly can, and across the line Skipper will be going into P9. So a little bit of time to find there for Skipper, but Big Bear's flying already. He's gone purple in the first sector and he's hassling that McLaren. He's 300ths up at the moment, but the Flying Boy Val, who is just behind actually on track, not a lot separates them in qualifying on track and on the timing sheets, and Flying Boy Val was 100th behind Big Bear in that first sector. It's going to be very, very close, but he's invalidated. Flying Boy Val has invalidated, I can confirm that. So the Williams driver will not be improving on this lap. We'll see if he finishes it just after Big Bear. How's Big Bear's middle sector going to be looking? He's fine even more time. It's purple once again for the McLaren driver. He's had to go around the outside of Always Rick, but as he climbs up the hill, I think Flying Boy has backed off, so we're not going to see an improvement from him, even though he invalidated his flank. He might be looking to go again. Big Bear, though, towards the line. Can he find improvements in this final sector? Yes. He can't actually find improvements in the final sector. Lose a little bit of time, but it's a very, very good lap from our championship winner, purple all around. Ralph finding improvements, and he goes into, I think he stays where he was. I think he stays where he was. As he now starts probably an in-lap. Reese Beard's gone into P5. I think he's on an in-lap yet. So a very good lap from Reese Beard. Clay a little bit down in the first sector. See if he can get anywhere near his teammate on this flyer. But look how close it is in qualifying. We've got Clay 2 thousandths ahead of Octavia. A lot of cars in the low 1 minute 8. So it just sets us up for a really competitive race. I think 16 drivers ready to battle out Clay, though. Big improvements in that middle sector. The Williams driver 34.5, not too far off what some of the guys at the front are setting. We'll see if he can find improvements. He's a lot of time up already. He might be getting a little bit of distance toe up the road and across the line now. Where will Clay go? P4 into the 1 minute 7s. Very, very good time for the Williams driver. 2 cars just about to start and finish their laps. Gerb's just starting his lap. And I think we have times completed for Felix and Dan. Well, they're very close to each other. Felix and Crankybot, I should say. Felix finding a little bit of improvement on our lap to get him down to 109.2. And Dan just coming towards the end of his flying at the racing point. He's coming to the pit lane, and that is Ralph. And as Dan climbs the hill, currently down in P12. And he's actually going to back off in this one. He's deciding to come into the pit lane. Baker, though, in the Renault. Personal best for him at the moment on this lap. We'll see where he can go with this time. Can he improve from P13? Yes, he can. He goes into P8 and into that cluster of cars in the low 1 minute 8. And there's a gaggle of cars trying to get round. Clay leading that pack. And we look behind us. There's 2 Alphas and a Ferrari. They'll be the next ones to come towards the line. Not sure who's on a flying lap and who's... I think... Is anyone on these guys on a flying lap? I don't think they are. I think Gerbs isn't. He might have had to back off or something. Crankybot's carrying on. He would have got a lovely toe, but probably compromised in the middle sector. Crankybot does improve, though. Goes into P4, and it was a very, very good final sector for the Ferrari driver. 16.4, and yeah, very, very quick time from him there. And definitely helped out with the toe in the final couple of corners. Flying without just about to start a flying lap. So is always Rick. I think Baker isn't too far off finish lap. He was up in the first sector, a very, very good time from the runner drive. I think this is back-to-back flying laps for him. He's found a little bit more time in that middle sector as well. Now we see he's not going to get any advantages over toes. His teammate just starts a flying lap. We'll catch flying without on his lap. He's just making his way down towards turn 4. And as he goes across the line, Baker's 2/10 improvement, just a little bit outside the 1:07 club. It goes in a P6. A very, very good time. And now we'll go on board with Flying Boy Val. Currently holding on to that P2 spot. If we look at his times at the moment, it was green in the first sector for the Williams driver. He goes up towards what I think is turn 10. A little bit wide as he makes his way through there. It's a little bit short shift to try and get the power down as best he can. We'll see what the middle sector is going to be looking like for the Williams driver. He's 4/10 of a second up. What a middle sector from Flying Boy Val. It's a 34.1. I think that's about 2/10 quicker than what Big Bear managed. We'll see what this lap can be. Can he maybe get into the 103s, 104? Shortest run to the line for the Williams driver. He goes across the line now. The time is going to be a 1:07.293. It's almost 5/10 improvement. From Flying Boy Val, very, very quick time. Big Bear just starting his flying lap, though. He's going to get a bit of a helping hand from his teammate on the run down towards turn number 4. He's actually lost a 10th, though, in that first sector to what he previously had. But it's 300s down on what Flying Boy Val managed, so we'll have to see how these guys shape up. Oh, and Asmith and Big Bear. It's a double moment for the McLaren team. Massive. I don't know what happened there. I think just too much speed and commitment, clipping that inside sort of grass, and Big Bear may have been distracted there by his teammate. Both of them on flying laps, I think, and both of them off. So a bit of drama for McLaren. We've still got 5 minutes left in this session, so plenty of time to go in and put on a new set of tyres. Who's on fire? I think another moment there for oh no, Williams has gone round. Octavio has retired. That's Flying Boy Val actually that's gone round. And so big dramas for some of the big hitters at the moment down at turn 10. I think it's turn 10. I'm going to call it turn 10. Flying Boy Val, of course, moving to no traction control and no ABS as of late. And Skipper, I should have said a very good improvement there. Put himself in a P6 just outside. Managed to nip ahead of Baker there. And then always Rick. I think just had a little bit of improvement. Or he's starting his flying lap. Not too sure. Baker's in the pits. Ralph may have had a moment. There he was up on his time. It's currently P9 for him. He does the time to come in and do another lap. We'll see how Dan, I think Dan just set an improvement. Well done. We'll see what his first sector is going to look like. He's miles up. Almost 3/10 of a second up for Dan. Very, very good first sector. 16.7. The runner gets out of the way very, very nicely. And up towards this intricate little middle sector now. Careful, not as tight as we saw the two McLarens go a little bit earlier on. Down in second gear now as he threads his way through this sort of long hairpins, just waiting to get the power down. And up the hill now. A lot of drivers running a little wider, not many people sort of wanting to hug that apex. I think it is a little bit easy to get the power down if you sort of run a little bit wider. Frumagulio down towards Jung Chao. A little bit more up for Dan. He's almost 3.5 up, and that will be putting him, I think, one position higher as things stand. So if he can find a bit of a mega last sector, and we'll see what he can do. Previous pole sitter in this season, and across the line it's going to be 1:08.6, and he does go ahead of Milo with that time. Gerb's just starting a flying lap. I think always Rick coming to the pit lane, and pretty much matches what he does from his previous best. We'll see how the Alfa Romeo driver can get on through this middle sector up towards. I'll try and get rid of that Flying Boy Val bit on the bottom of the screen. Changes. Octavia's got a 5-place grid penalty. Who would have knew? Who would have knew? I don't know if it was just now. Are they on track? Maybe that's why he retired. I don't know what happened there. But the 5-place grid penalty has been given. Someone got a warning for speeding the pit lane as well. But Gerbs is going very well at the moment. A very strong middle sector. We see now as he flies towards the line, nothing much more he can do. Take the shortest run, I would imagine, and that he does. And coming across the line, it's going to be a 1:07.7, so almost a 10th improvement there for Gerbs, but just a little bit off the top two at the moment. And the Ferrari, I think, of Dan has had a moment in that middle sector. He was on a flying lap or an in lap. Anyone else on a flying lap? Have a look. Felix, big improvements for him at the moment. Can he get ahead of Dan with this one? Shortest run to the line for Felix. Right up against the wall, and he finds almost 4 tenths per second. P14's manages to jump Milo with that flying lap, and Milo's on improvements as well in the Haas car. Just towards the line now, there's the Ferrari. I think that's of Dan, who had a little bit of a spin. And across the line, Milo will set a 1 minute 8.4, and he jumps ahead of Dan and Felix. So Felix back down to P15 despite the improvements not too long ago. Asmith, though, on a flying lap, 16.7 for him in the first sector. This middle sector's got 2 cars behind him, Skipper on an out lap, and the Alfa Romeo. One of them, I'm not sure which one, but one of them is behind. As we're from the third gear, getting the power down now nice and smoothly. Up towards the hairpin. Opting for a bit of a late apex there, a bit of tight. We've seen other drivers that could be gaining him a bit of time as he shorts us out through Magulio, down towards Young Chow. And it's going to be 51.8. The middle sector is 35 dead. That's sort of... and the top guys, and I think, was it Flying Without, and it's a low 34. So a little bit off the moment for Asmith, but maybe just lacking that little bit of confidence. Ralph retired, and that is down at where Hamilton retired in 2017, when we saw the two McLarens have a moment. Asmith goes in a P14 with a 1 minute 8.5, but Ralph is out of qualifying. Could not improve from his P9. 108.1 for him. Who is on a flying lap? Crankybot is. He's towards the line now. What can Crankybot do in the Ferrari? Can he find improvement to get ahead of Gerbs? Not quite. Improved by half a tenth of a second. He can go again if he's got the tyres, if he's got the fuel and the ERS. No, he can't because he's invalidated. Big Bear. Just behind. Maybe was he hunting a bit of a toe there? In the middle of the track, the first sector is improvements for him. He's gone purple. Fastest of anyone in that first sector, 16.5. Pretty much 2 corners. And flat out through turn 3 now. Up towards this middle sector, keeping it a little bit wider than he did on that previous lap. Getting the car slowed down, massive lock up for the Bear. That sort of compromised a little bit. Skipper getting out of the way very nicely. Up towards the hairpin now. Where's Flying Boy Val? He's a little bit behind us. The McLaren of Asmith just coming towards the end of the lap. Not sure if he's on a flyer. The Red Bull of Skipper's had a moment, or I think he might have just got out of the way for the Ferrari. Big Bear though, what's this middle sector look like? He's found even more time. It's a 34.3. You see what Flying Boy Val's doing. I don't think Val's setting sort of blinding first sectors. I think Val's might have had a moment. One of the Williams definitely has. And the Big Bear towards the line. Can he snatch back pole position? He's looking to. He's up at the moment towards the line. It's going to be a 1 minute 7.3, and he's just missed out. It's tantalisingly close. Flying Without is, well, he's out. He can't improve. He's got pole position, I think. Clay though is improving a little bit. I think he might have had a little bit of a spin in that middle sector. Skipper isn't improving on this lap time, and it's going to be Flying Boy Val who will take pole position for the final race of this season. Of course, he got the win last time out in Bahrain. And if I have a quick check, it is... Did he get pole last? Was it pole last week for him? I think it was pole position last week for Flying Boy Val. So it's back-to-back poles for the Williams driver. Can he make it back-to-back wins? It was pole. It was pole last week for Flying Boy Val. He gets double poles. Can he make it double wins? He does have 100% pole conversion rate, I believe. Was one? He's got 50% pole conversion rate. I should say this is his third pole position in RLH actually. So we will see if he can make it his second win. But Big Bear right behind him. It can be a great battle between these two. Less than 300ths separates them. And then a little bit further out, we've got Gerbs and Crankybot. He'll be dueling away the battle of the Dutchies. And then Calais, Asmith, Skipper. Asmith getting a good lap at the end, which really counted. He's put himself well up the order after not an ideal qualifying. Skipper, Baker, Oisrick and Ralph round out the top 10. But look how close it is between some of the drivers. Octavio also getting a 5-second penalty. We didn't, 5 place penalty. We didn't quite see what went on then. But now we're gonna jump straight into the race. The drivers will be selecting fuel loads, selecting setup and strategy, or changing maybe a little bit of a tweak to the setup, but changing the strategy around. And we'll have to see how things pan out strategy, because it's an interesting one, this race. I mean, on F1 2019, it was a clear-cut soft to medium. And we have seen this week in some of the categories that some drivers may have struggled with that a little bit. I remember Lurch had a very impressive stint on Tuesday in the C3, and he did, 17 or 18 laps on the soft tyres. So we might see someone replicate that this evening. Of course, the top 10 have to start on the soft compound tyres, because that's what they qualified. That's what they qualified on. But whatever people decide to do, maybe a medium hard. Some drivers might opt to start on the hard compound tyre, try and go long into the race. But we will run through the order then. Flying Without leads them away for the second time in 2 weeks. Got Big Bear in P2, Gerbs in third, and then Crankybot and Calais in the top 5. Then we got Asmith, Skipper, Baker, Always Rick, Renault 8th for 9th. Ralph, Annoyed Gamer, Reespear, Milo. So it's a Haas 12th and 13th. Then we got Dan, Felix and Octavio is in P16 because of that penalty. Have a look at the tyres, and it is mediums for Annoyed Gamer, Dan, Felix and Octavio. The two Haas cars got soft tyres on. They want to try and make the progress early on and try and attack from the start. And there is the strategy. It's predicting soft and hard, or soft and medium. We'll have to see what drivers opt to go for. It's not one of the longest pit lanes on the game. It's not one of the shortest either. I think it's sort of a standard one. It's such a long pit exit though. It's very easy to make a mistake in there. I know. So we'll see what comes of all of that. But we're now heading through Jingchao with Flying with Val, Big Bear. The mind games back in the pack up a little bit. A few gaps forming about the two cars at the back, just a little bit further behind at the moment. But that is no worries at all. Air temperature 23 degrees, track temperature 30 degrees, and ready to go racing around the 4.294 kilometres of the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace, or Interlagos as it's more commonly known. The drivers slotting into their grid positions for the final time this season. It's been a great season of racing from everybody. A lot of improvements throughout the season. A lot of great battles. And I said this because I thought the start would come pretty quickly, but I can now see the two cars are still coming around the final corner, or the final kink towards a straight. 15 corners, and I was right, turn 10 is the hairpin. So as they slot into their grid position, we're ready to go for the final time. I hope Cecile enjoys the final race as well. She'll be watching at some point. But as we slot into grid positions, we're ready to get racing for the final time. I can't see the lights. There we go. And we have 4 and 5 red lights here in Brazil. When the lights down, away we go. They were out in an instant. It looks like it's been a great start for Big Bear, has it? The timing order's already messed up. There we go. And trying to go around the outside is Gerbs. Can Gerbs make this one stick? He slots ahead as they go into turn 3, but Big Bear's coming straight back at him. Can Crankybot get involved just behind? They're dueling away now on the run down towards turn 4. And looks like Big Bear having to slot in, but look who's coming. It's Crankybot down the inside. Big Bear could be losing 2 positions on the first couple of corners. Gerbs runs wide. So does Big Bear. Crankybot could sweep past the pair of them. Here's the coming together between Gerbs and Crankybot. Lucky to not avoid an incident there. And Asmith making a place there. Already up in a P5. We slot out Calais. What happened to Calais there? Sort of jink to the wrong way there. That's put a bit of distance between himself and Asmith. Dan and Felix changing positions further down the order. And running wide there is the Haas of Milo. And there's the pit stop strategy again for you. Soft to hard, or medium to hard for Annoyed Gamer, even though it hasn't started on the softs. But as we make our way now down towards Jingchao for the first time, turn number 12 on the track. Car starting to bunch up, ready for that first run down towards turn 1. It's such a long run, even though there's a couple of corners in the way. DRS zone doesn't start for quite a way. Of course, we don't have DRS anywhere near yet. Got a few laps to go before then. Flying Without to the fast lap of the race. He's had a brilliant start. Change position note for P2. As no, there wasn't. Timing order's just changing about. Dan coming into the pit lane though, and Calais has had a poor exit, and always Baker's trying to go around the outside of him. Always coming together are the two cars and getting ahead now. What's happened at the front? Nothing. I might have just missed an overtake. Oh, down the inside, and there's contact. There's contact between Baker and Calais. Calais spinning round. He'll be dropping now down to the back of the field, apart from Dan, and I think that was just a 2 into 1, didn't go And Noy Gamers on the back of Skipper. Going to the middle sector. Baker sweeping around the outside. Clay trying to defend the position. And yeah, it's very difficult to go too wide into that corner because it's not really a tight corner. Difficult to sort of take the high ground, take the inside, and a bit of it coming together. But now as we carry on board with 10th place driver, currently we're picking up 1 point with Noy Gamer. As Flying Val has managed to make a second gap. Look who's coming at Gerb, this Big Bear. He's right on the back of the Alfa Romeo driver, looking to sweep around the outside. Big Bear sets the fastest lap of the race. It's 1 minute 10.5 and gets ahead before the braking zone. Big Bear up and back into the podium places. And now we're chasing down the Ferrari of Cranky Bot. Of course, DRS now active. And we'll see in that top, second to fourth battle, it's just Cranky Bot that doesn't have DRS. Is tantalisingly close to the window in front. A lot of drivers in a bit of a DRS train. Ralph picks up the first of the 3-second time penalties this evening, and Dan has gone on to the soft compound tyres. Maybe he might try a bit of alert strategy, take the soft as long as he can go, and just go soft to soft to the end of this race, try and make something of it. And Crankybot definitely has gained quite a bit on this lap. And Octavio and Felix dueling away at the moment. Felix trying to have that inside line. Lucas trying to get involved. It's the Haas of Reespear. And Felix keeps ahead. And Octavio just has to tuck in behind Reespear. Still waiting just behind the pair of them. And also keeping an eye on the battle down towards turn 1. Oh, what's happened to Annoy Gamer? What's happened to Annoy Gamer? Bit of a problem. I think he might have had a little bit of a spin. He's dropped down to P14 now. As Speedboat sets another fast lap of the race, he is on a charge to catch up with Crankybot. Crankybot also is reeled in the gap to Flying Val. That gap down at 0.4 of a second. Flying Val not having a great couple of laps in that Williams car, the top 4 off. And we got a gap of 2.6 seconds back to Asmith at the moment. Baker close to Asmith but can't find a way past just yet. Octavio and Felix side by side. This battle carries on down towards turn 4, and this battle just behind as well. The two Haas cars. No, not quite the two Haas cars. But Octavio goes a little bit deep. Can Felix come back at him? Yes, he has. Oh, Felix hit the wall. Can they avoid him? Just about. Brilliant job from Annoy Gamer Reespear, who somehow managed to avoid the Alfa Romeo that I don't think had ghosted at the time they had to avoid him. Brilliant job from those two. Clay gets past as well. But a bit of a spin for Felix. I think he may have just got a little bit too wide or a bit too tight on the turn in and just lost the car. A bit of the back end swinging round. It's got it easy at that corner, and Reespear gets ahead of Annoy Gamer. I think that was down at the hairpin. Annoy Gamer looking to fight him straight back. Can he go around the outside of Jing Chao? He might be getting a better exit though. It's softs versus mediums. Baker's coming at Asmith, but into turn 1, no change of positions for P5 as of yet. Down towards turn 1 we go now. It's DRS for Annoy Gamer down in towards turn 1. That's a flash from them there, and down we go. He's on the inside line. Can he hold the position? Baker has got past Asmith. Watching this battle though, as trying to hang it around the outside and just having to tuck back out now. Always Rick and Ralph dueling away. Is Always Rick going to come out on top? He's onto the curb. That's probably what happened to the Alfa Romeo before, and another great save there. That was a brilliant save from Always Rick. Milo, is he going to try and someone up the inside? Always Rick tries to cover it. They're side by side as they go up the hill, and the Renault just keeps ahead. But very quick thinking, quick reactions from Always Rick to avoid smashing into the barrier. That could have been easily done. And speaking of easily done, that's Flying without at the race. That's a mega crash for the man who started on pole position. He's done everything right as of yet, and that was a mega crash. I just ran a little bit too wide, lost the car completely, and that is a safety car. I am not surprised. That's going to be gutting for the Williams driver. That was a mega crash up in the barrier. It's so annoying, and we've seen drivers manage to get away with it, and unfortunately our race leader is not one of those. Who's coming into the pit lane? Asmith into the pit lane, Ralph's into the pits. The safety car was called out quite late, so I'm not too sure if the guys at the front couldn't react to it in time. But something that is interesting is they've already caught up with the safety car. So Crankybot will lead the pack. He's behind the safety car now, and pretty much quite a lot of drivers coming into the pit lane. We'll see Asmith straight out of the pits now, and he might be able to get out ahead. This is a cracking view. He's okay. It's a nice pit box, to be fair. We'll follow Felix. We might be able to see the McLaren come out. There he is. and it comes back out onto the track. In P7, so he's made his pit stop. He can go to the end now. If that's what he's planning, it could be a great strategy call from him. And I'd get to the back of that pack as quickly as you can. You want to try and, if the top 5 decide to come into the pit lane now, you want to be taking advantage of that and getting ahead of all of them. Driving as quickly as you can. Still Ralph just with that single penalty at the moment. Octavio joins the back of the pack. I'm going to watch that crash back on stream. It was very weird. We've seen just some drivers just maybe just running that a little bit wide. Just have that big snap and just it's so hard to control sometimes. Let's see if I can watch it again. Oh, that's way too far back in the stream. Okay, here we go. So as we join up the back of the pack, a few drivers into the pit lane. That is Big Bear into the pits. We've also got Milo and Baker coming in. So Asmif's going to gain massively on this in comparison to his teammate. Where will Big Bear slot out in the order? He's got quite a few drivers ahead of him, I think. To race down towards turn 4. In comparison to the guys who are on the right of the screen there, it's the likes of Skipper, Always Rick. They've pitted, and Octavio there. Big Bear's going to be losing out big time here. Big Bear coming out in P10. Crankybot and Gerb staying out. They want to try and extend that soft stint. I think they realise that they might not want to be in the traffic that the likes of Big Bear, Baker, Milo, Calais and Reespear are going to be in. So interesting strategy decisions. Unfortunately, final hours of retirement. Not something we wanted to see at all, but it has shaken up the race a little bit in terms of strategy and how drivers are going to have to play this one. Because theoretically, yeah, Big Bear can go to the end from here. So can Asmif, so can Ralph, so can Baker, Milo, Calais and Reespear. But of course, the top 3 can't. Felix can't. So I have to see how that one plays out. I'm going to watch the incident back again. Flying Without just runs a little bit deep and then the car shoots off to the right. I think he tries to then save it and it shoots off toward the left and it's just a mega incident and a hit with the wall. Gutting for him because it was a great first stint. The safety car's already coming in, so that's brilliant news. Crankybot becomes the effective safety car. He will lead the pack. We'll have the data up for him and be able to see when he decides to bolt and go for it. Pack behind, and he's going already. It's been a pretty good restart for Crankybot as he heads down towards turn number 1. I don't think Gerds will be challenging him just yet. The gap and not coming down by too much. I know overtakes up at the front. We'll see further back. A little bit of look there from Skipper, but no moves as of yet. Further out the order, gaps a little bit spread out. Big Bear, bit of a lock up the first time down towards turn 1 on those hard tyres. I don't think they'll be warmed up. I don't think they'll be up to temperature. Speaking of up to temperature, Ralph's on those hard tyres. He's got Skipper on fresh softs behind him, and Baker's challenging just behind. Actually, there's a move further up the field, and Always Rick goes ahead of Skipper. Good move from the Renault driver down the inside at turn 4. Big Bear does hold on to that 10th place, despite the pressure from Baker behind. And it's really interesting. We've got different strategies coming into play. Drivers on the hards, some drivers on the softs, some drivers on the mediums. So we can see a lot of different paces. Of course, drivers looking to pit at different laps or not pit at all. No little dive bombs into turn 10. But it's the likes of Ralph that are just going to struggle out of these traction zones, and that's where these drivers are really Always Rick really desperate to get past. He's trying to find a gap wherever he can and skip a little bit loose on the rear, and I think Always Rick now could be maybe making challenge down towards turn 1. See if he gets close enough. Ralph going a little bit defensive already, trying to break that toe. And he climb up the hill. Big Bear on the back of Annoyed Gamers. He's trying to go around the outside. We've seen him already do it once. He's going to have to try and fight this one, and it looks like he made it stick. He's made it stick. He's ahead of Annoyed Gamer. And what can Baker do now? He'll be trying to follow suit, but Always Rick is challenging Ralph there side by side. It's in a battle of who's got the most overtake. Down towards turn 4. They're both going to be late on the brakes, just about avoiding contact. And they're still duelling as we go up the hill now into this middle sector. Who's going to give up first? Ralph's got the inside. He's got the high ground. And Always Rick just has to tuck out of that one. Big Baker, though, a bit of the same. Trying to maybe make a move on Annoyed Gamer there, but just couldn't find the way past. And it's just better, I think, on that occasion. Just to tuck out because it can get a little bit nasty in there. I think we saw Ralph retire from there in qualifying. It is so easy to do with that massive wall on the outside of turn 6, I believe. As we move on, lap 9, we've still got quite a lot of laps left in this race. We're only at quarter distance at the moment. A lot of excitement left to come in this one. Always Rick's been a brilliant exit. He's already looking to go around the outside of Ralph. It's, again, we said it's like the difference between the soft tire and the hard tire is already ahead now as we go down towards turn number 1. What can Skipper do in this battle? He's on the softs, Ralph's on the hards. Can he try and go around the outside? The gap at the front, still 5/10 of a second. He's trying to go all the way around the side, but he's going to try and make a bit of a switchback work. Ralph does a really good job actually, just sort of block the move effectively. It was really good driving there from Ralph. Big Bear though trying to get on the back of this one. He's got DRS. Sorry. And can Big Bear find a gap? We could almost have 3 wide. Big Bear's trying to get ahead of the Red Bull. He's just about going to do so. Can he make it a double move? Ralph's giving him the room. It's a battle between first and second in the championship. Will either of them yield? It's a drag race now. Up towards the top of the hill. Big Bear goes round the outside and gets the head now. What will the Red Bull of Skipper do? He's going to try and maybe send one in here. Bit of contact as the pack concertinaed up. I think that is definitely damage for Annoyed Gamer on his front wing. Always Rick. Oh, he's got damage as well. Contact with Felix. We've seen him be a little bit punchy on the brakes and trying to find the gap as quickly as he can. That's going to compromise him with his front wing. What will he decide to do now? Doesn't seem to be the biggest damage. Baker and Annoyed Gamer swap. And Baker's managed to make the move down into Zheng Chao. The top 2 separate by 4/10 of a second. Gerbs looking really, really quick at the moment as they head down towards turn number 1. Not finding a way past just yet. And as Annoyed Gamer has come into pit lane for that wing damage. And Skipper goes down the inside of Ralph, who's slowly dropping down the order as the guys with fresh softs just have that little bit better pace at the moment. Big Bear though has managed to get ahead of Always Rick. They're side by side. Always Rick, of course, compromised with that damage. I think Calais had a moment down at turn 1. We didn't see if he got tangled with anyone there. A bit of spin, but luckily that Williams driver manages to get going. I think Williams secured second in the championship, so don't have to worry too much about that fight this evening. And Skipper getting close to the back of the Renault there as we go through the middle sector. Big Bear, will he think about maybe trying to send one down here? I think he's going to wait for DRS, play it a little bit sensibly on this one. Bit of a switchback, and that could be a very good move from Big Bear. He's got the traction. That's a really good pass. Felix is still there though. They're dueling away. Always Rick runs a little bit wide. Who's going to come out ahead? Felix, make sure he keeps the position. He's going to lock up. Always Rick and Skipper are going to be getting involved in the battle now as well. Why are there yellow flags? I don't know. Going up the hill now. Always Rick and Felix. Always Rick and Felix have gone together. How can Always Rick's managed to avoid a retirement? That's a very impressive job somehow. Yeah, the flag's been waved. He's straight into the pit lane with that one. So must have suffered big wing damage, and Felix still somehow holding on to that P5. Big Bear trying to find a way past. That could have been a knock-on Verstappen moment there, down there. And Big Bear, can he get past now? It's overtake. He's using everything he's got. He ducks back in for a double dose of slipstream. They're running down towards turn number 4. He's got DRS. Can he get the high ground? He's got the inside line. He moves ahead and into P5 though, and it's McLaren 4th and 5th. Felix though trying to fight this one back. Can Skipper get involved in the battle on the climb up towards the top of the hill? Always Rick's now down in P15, but it does mean he's on a set of hards. He can go to the end of the race now. And the top 2 still separated by not a lot. Crankybot still ahead of Gerbs. And Baker trying to maybe send one around the outside of Ralph. That would have been a very opportunistic move. Will he find one here? He's going to go for it. That's a bit late on the brakes, and he's just about... They're keeping it clean. Fair play to Ralph giving the room. Skipper's going wheel to wheel with Felix. Ralph might sort of force the issue, force him a little bit wide, and I don't think with... has Baker got any wing damage? One of the Reds have got wing damage. As we can't quite see there, but the Red Bull of Ralph not having the best of... Red Bull of Skipper not having the best of exits. Is it Baker that has wing damage? I think one of the Reds definitely does. Baker doesn't, so he's not compromised at all. As we go down towards turn 1, we've seen him move. Skipper though trying to line one up on the inside. He's going to put his car there. It's also Dan trying to get involved, and Ralph actually trying to go around the outside, and that was another sort of Verstappen-Ocon moment potentially there. But keeping it clean just about. And the battle carries on. We go down towards turn number 4. Baker looking the back of Ralph. He's got Milo straight behind him, so the guys from further back are getting involved in these battles. Look at Big Bear. He's already managed a 2-second gap ahead of Felix, and he's got a 2-second gap ahead of Felix as he's caught up to Asmith just ahead, but the top 3 starting to push on in this race quite a bit and doing a good job. They're building a big gap, which they need to do because some guys behind potentially don't have to pit again. A lot of penalties for some drivers, and that's a case of I think corner cutting or I don't know what the track is. Multiple warnings, that's the one. And the top 2 are into the pit lane, both of them into the pit lane, so Gerb's following what Crankybot does. We need to see where they come out on track. Skipper now climbing up the hill. Surely he's going to find a way past Felix this time around. He officially hits 0% ERS. Felix has got some to defend, and that's going to mean here comes Ralph. Ralph is the one on the absolute charge. He's trying to go around the outside of Skipper. He's going to make it down the inside of Felix. Yes, he can. What a move by Ralph. Can he get to the corner just about? Felix, though, will try and get the switchback. Can he fight this one back now coming out of turn 4? 3. On the corners, I don't know. Skipper those fighting with Felix. Has he now found some overtake to duel away with? Felix now is the one without any overtake. Is Ralph down the inside? Sorry, is Skipper down the inside? No, he's not. Brilliant move by Ralph. He went around the outside of one, then down the inside of the next. That's fantastic stuff from the Racing Point man. That's why he's second in the championship. Brilliant stuff from Ralph. Oh, that was crazy. And in the meantime, Crankybot and Gerbs come out in the order they were. Skipper runs a little bit wide. He's going to avoid the back of Felix. No, he's not. He is not. He couldn't get the car slow down. Big lock-up for the Red Bull man. He's got wing damage. I think Felix would have got away unscathed. We'll check out the damage, though. Yeah, missing that end plate on the Red Bull. Oh, Felix had a poor exit. Ralph's managed to get the switcheroo, and it's a brilliant drive from Ralph there to get round the outside. From Skipper, I keep getting them mixed up. Baker gets through as well, just about. Will Felix try and keep it together? He tried to put his nose in, and Milo gets through as well, and so do the drivers who were fighting at the front. They've both gone onto the hard tyres. Yellow flag in sector 3 for the spinning Alfa Romeo, and always Baker going down the inside of Skipper. That move will be done and just before the corner, I think. And taking the apex is the Renault, and then the Red Bull just has to tuck in behind. But again, having a look there, and Skipper's off. Skipper off into the wall. Can he keep this one out of time? And yes, he can. Has he picked up more wing damage? Yes, he has. And someone a great call laps for Skipper as Respit into the pits. But the dueling is still not over, because here come the previous race leaders. Crankybot and Gerbs now have got to try and make their way through this traffic. It's just another thing to get excited about in this race. It's all kicking off here in Brazil. Exactly what I want to see. Drivers giving it everything. I think we've just about seen it on the clean side, I'd say. And Crankybot and Gerbs are now going to negotiate all of this. Could we see a bit of team play down at Ferrari to help Crankybot stay ahead of Gerbs? Gerb will have the best seat in the house for any overtakes that come ahead of him. Could like double the overtake that Crankybot has. He's done a very good job to preserve it, I must say. And Crankybot already looking to go past Dan, and I think a bit of overtaking DRS has managed to help him get ahead. Dan and DRS as well, of course, from the car in front. Gerbs sets a purple final sector. Gerbs are trying to go around the outside. I think he's just not quite going to have the grip to make this one work. He's going to switch to the inside. That's a brilliant move by Gerbs. Forced it a little bit on the exit of turn 2, but a great move to capitalise. And Ralph and Baker going wheel to wheel. And Baker's managed to slot out the inside bit of wheel banging as they went into turn 4. I don't think there's any wing damage on the front of that Racing Point. Doesn't look like it from the aerial shot. And Skipper's come into the pit lane for a new set of mediums. That promotes always Rick and getting rid of that double wing damage we saw on the Red Bull. Okay, if we have a quick look while there's a brief break in the craziness at distance to leader, because if we take 5 seconds off the time, Crankybot and Gerbs effectively 10 seconds behind Baker and Asmith. Of course, we think the guys that pitted on hards early on are going to the end now. And of course, Crankybot and Gerbs are going to have much fresher hard tyres. We'll see if Crankybot can get ahead of Milo. Might be a bit of a dive down in towards turn 1. He's going to play it a little bit sensibly. I think that was the right thing to do. Gerbs has used a lot of overtake in these last couple of laps since we last had a look. It was up in the 80% region. Of course, Milo's now going to have DRS to defend. No, he's not. He's not. He was just outside a second that time around. And the Ferrari and the Alfa Romeo are going to be stuck behind as we go into the middle set. There's 7 laps difference between Crankybot and Gerbs and then Milo's tyres as we go up the hill. They can't find a way past just yet. Big Bear's managed to close in the gap to his teammate Asmith, and I think the bigger they can make that gap, the better. Reespear and Skipper dueling away. Reespear's gone off onto some sort of painted tarmac that we didn't even realise was there. And coming to the Zheng Chao now, Crankybot and Gerbs are wanting to try and find a way past. If Crankybot can get past, Gerbs will be wanting to find a way past too, as they try and close in on the likes of Asmith, Big Bear and Baker. We've seen our DRS open defensive already from Milo. He wants to hold on to that P6. He doesn't have to let these guys pass, and I think it's really for track position. Milo could be going to the end of this race quite easily. He goes on the power down into the pits. So he'll drop down the order. Lap promotes Felix and Calais up into the points. Will Gerbs think about a move? Not going to be quite close enough. I think he sort of realised a little bit too late that if he used overtake, he might have been able to make it work. We're only a half race distance. We're on lap 18 of 36. We've still got 18 laps of racing to go. And I'm sure there is another twist in the tail of this one. I've got a feeling, we're going to see a bit more drama at some point. And Gerbs Crankybot still stuck behind Milo. Milo's doing a very good defensive job as things stand. Well, Crankybot maybe think about sending him on the inside. He's going to try and get it in a bit of a sort of an unnormal place, a little bit of contact. He's now going to get a better exit, I think. Overtaken up the hill. He is going to get past. Gerbs wanting to try and follow through. And there's a free... Oh, and Milo dicing with death on the grass. And look who's coming past. Gerbs managed to find a way past. He's gone down the inside. And Milo's coming back past. Milo's trying to make the move on Crankybot. Crankybot, there's contact. There's contact between them. Oh my golly gosh. Crankybot, well, bit of a clicking of wheels, I think you could say. I think there's damage on the Ferrari as well. There is, and there is another twist in the tail. Unfortunately, it's at the expense of Crankybot. And now Calais manages to get past. Will Felix find a way through? And Good Old Gamer could be coming through too. It's gone from bad to worse from Crankybot. Can't hold on to a points position. Drops into P11. I think Crankybot and Calais holding on to P12, and Felix, who started the race on these medium tyres, still on them. So doing a very good job. Annoyed Gamer just behind him. And gives him the slightest of taps. What's happened here? Dan and Always Rick are side by side. They're dueling away. Oh, hell, Dan is pretty much... I can just come out the pit lane. As we go up there... It's wheel banging, I think you can say that. And Always Rick just about keeps ahead of Dan as they climbed up the hill. Annoyed Gamer closing on the back of Felix. And slight lock up for him. He's using overtake straight away up the hill. We'll see who will come out on top in this drag race. It'll be DRS for both of them. So who's got the most overtake to play with? Calais. They're just slowly coming towards him, but not close enough to make a move. Lockups from everyone, and that's contact. That's Felix. He was way too low on the brakes. He locked up. That's Calais spinning around as well. And it's a car park down at turn 1 once again. This time 2 drivers rather than just the one. And now Crankybot into the pit lane. He's on for a set of mediums. And also a new front wing, so he'll have the pace, so he'll be hoping for a safety car or something. But yeah, Felix just a little bit too late on the brakes. Those old mediums definitely not helping him out, and he goes into the back of Calais. So unfortunate for both drivers, but I think you'd have to agree a little bit more unfortunate for Calais. And Crankybot does drop down to P15, just going not been ideal last couple of laps for our previous race leader. Big Pat just chilling behind his teammate. He's happy with the pace. He did close up to him quite quickly, but I think maybe, just judging from that ERS, might be doing like a little bit of saving or something like that. Just sort of make a real attack at some point. Now, these guys, for me, are in the effective race lead, with Octavio still having to pit. Look at the old pit stops. Pit stop, yeah, so Felix and Octavio still have to pit. Milo gets a 3-second time penalty. I'll look at penalties. 3 seconds across the board, apart from 6 for Always Rick and Respin. There's a yellow flag. That's the Ferrari. Which one is it? It's Crankybot. He's had a moment. Has he got more front wing damage? That will just add to his pain. He's managed to avoid front wing damage on that one. Yeah, not ideal from the Ferrari driver. It's very easy just to lose the rear there. I've seen quite a lot of drivers do it over the years. I'm not that old, but since I've been playing the game, it's very easy to lose it on a traction there. And we'll see what happens between the 2 McLaren drivers, as Big Bear's now got 100% ERS, so he's been saving it all up. See when he decides to use it, if he decides to use it. This is, I think, just about the closest battle on track. Gerbs coming towards the back of Ralph now. Of course, Gerbs still on that push through the field, as the Crew 2 is updated for me. That's good to know. And as we carry on, Big Bear not using any of his overtake. Yeah, it's quite interesting. But you try and keep it around that sort of 80% level, but He's very happy where he is at the moment. I think he knows he's in a very good position at the moment to win this race. So is Asmith. Both McLaren drivers looking the favourites, I think you would say, at the moment. Gerbs, he's got the tyre advantage, but a lot of work to do over the coming laps. I think the further we go into this race, the guys who pitted that first safety car will struggle potentially towards the end. The tyres get old, and especially the hard tyres get old. It becomes very, very difficult, and that 7-8 lap tyre advantage could come into play. But Octavio's doing a brilliant stint, it must be said, on those mediums. Very well to survive the pressure at the safety car restart. And with two very, very quick McLarens behind him, he's doing a very, very good job, I think. He might be trying a medium soft, which will be interesting to see. See what the different strategies yield for different drivers. And whether the that can come ahead. What's happened to Calais? He's managed to get ahead of Felix. Interesting place to do it, but fair enough. And Gerbs now on the back of Ralph. Bit of overtake straight away at the corner. He's going to have DRS. He closes in on the back of the racing point. I think the racing point might be a little bit defenceless. The straight just might not be long enough. Who's going to come out on top? Fastest first sector for Gerbs. He's going to go round the outside of Ralph. And that's a good move to get up into P5 now. And avoids the spin. We've seen quite a few drivers do on the exit. The Renault of Always Ricks closing on Felix. Felix, another driver who's still on the tyres he started on those old mediums. And Always Rick maybe trying to look for a move into turn 3, but I think the gap just wasn't quite there for him. To go into turn number 4 once again. The Renault will close on the back of Felix, but not enough to make anything happen. We'll see what Big Bear is going to do as he closes in on his teammate. He has been using that overtake a little bit. He's going to close in and actually decides not to go for the move this time around. Maybe trying to line one up, make sure he gets close enough, keep it clean between the teammates. McLaren wanting to have a strong finish to the season. Get closer and closer, but just not quite close enough. And I think definitely no dive bombs down at McLaren. We want to keep it relatively sensible. Always Rick is dueling away with Felix. He's got a much better exit on much fresher tyres, I would imagine. What's Felix going to do? He's had enough. He's coming into the pit lane to get rid of those medium compound tyres and gets the car slowed down nicely to avoid any sort of penalty. That promotes Dan, and I think Skipper, Reespear and Crankybot will probably, or maybe get past as well. And Annoyed Gamer on a set of softs. He can go soft again. We said he could do that a little bit earlier on, soft to soft. Let's see how that works for him. Of course, penalties could come into play. As Baker, I think, has been closing the gap on the Big Bet. That now down at 1.7. Again, the two finished drivers close on each other, but just not quite close enough to make a move. Have a look at the last laps. It was a 11.7 and 11.8 for the two McLarens, and then Baker behind him was an 11.4, so he's just gaining that a little bit each lap, and I think he's just slowly starting to reel them in a little bit by bit. Have a look at their first sector times now, and yeah, the Renault couple tenths up on Big Bear and just about a tenth up on Asmith, so it's slowly coming to him. I think is he doesn't have that sort of dirty air that Big Bear has, and Asmith maybe just not as comfortable on these hard tyres, and of course he's not getting the benefit of a tow or DRS, and it's not too long before Bacon might be getting a little bit of DRS to help him out. We'll see now. Big Bear, I think, is the closest he's been for quite a while. The gap briefly dropping below 0.2 of a second. He's climbing up the hill. Big Bear's decided that now's the time, and I think he'll be getting DRS as well, so he used a bit of overtake to get past his teammate, and then DRS to help keep the position stick. He's actually not going to use DRS. Fair enough. Engine Corby is now up in a second place and the net race lead. But look who's coming at them as well. Gerb's not too far behind. He's on the fresher tyres with 10 laps left to go. Those 7-lap younger tyres could become pivotal. Let's see how that unfolds. But now Baker within DRS range of Asmith. This could be a little duel forming. Of course, Asmith might be getting a bit of DRS help from his teammate. Again, we'll just have to see how this one unfolds. It's sort of the first half of the race, all about the overtakes, the craziness of it all. And now we're getting into the strategies. The yellow flag somewhere. That's the Red Bull skipper. What's happened to him? On the grass. And trying to get back onto the track. So I think a little bit of a spin. Maybe what happened to flying without. But obviously shooting off to the left rather than the right and into the wall. And that allows Crankybot up into P13. But no big dramas coming from that. We've seen now how Baker can get on. He's right on the back now of this duel we were watching a little bit earlier. Now within DRS range, he's being a bit sensible. As Octavio's into the pit lane now, so we are now watching the battle for the lead and the podium places. Where will Octavio come? He's done a mega stint on those medium tyres. He's going to come out in actually quite a good position, I think. Just about ahead of his teammate. He's on the fresh softs though, so he'll be the one with the confidence. He'll be the one with the grip now as they push on. And Gerbs will be hoping that the top three duel a little bit to slow them down, wear their tyres out even more, because he's the one with the advantage at the moment. Good sector times. Again, Baker just closing in that little bit. You can see the gap now well. It dipped for a second below 0.3 of a second. He's right there. But Asmith's still within DRS range of his teammate. Flying without saying, made a mistake. He saw the DRS gap and automatically pressed overtake when he was mid-corner, so just made that sort of slight error. Big Bear also just makes an error there. Will that allow Asmith to come at him? Overtake is in use for Asmith, not for Baker, interestingly enough. Run down towards turn 1. No moves just yet. As Asmith goes in a little bit deep. And they're closing up to Felix. It's a difficult race, I think. Baker does have a penalty though. Gerb's getting a 3-second time penalty. That could be pivotal for the end of this race. Annoyed Gamer coming to the pit lane for his another set of softs, I would imagine. And actually, it's Octavio who's flying at the moment. He, of course, those fresh super softs. He could be nicking a fastest lap. I'm not sure who's got it at the moment. It might be Big Bear. I think he may have had it earlier on. We'll have a little look. He does. 10.3, that's what Octavio has to aim for. He's flying at the moment. Look how much he's caught up to Milo. Annoyed Gamer, who's in the pit lane, that's why he's lost the position to Always Rick. But Annoyed Gamer will be the one who's got the pace. And will he get out ahead of Calais? It's going to be close. He's on the grass a little bit there. He's just going to keep ahead of Calais. He's going to have the soft tyres to defend. Calais goes round the outside. And that's a good move, but I think he could be coming straight back at him. That grip out of the corner is big, and that was a brave. You've got to be brave to go on the grass there. And I think he might just be yielding this position. Calais gets in a P9. But soft tyre advantage is definitely with the AlphaTauri. Speaking of the AlphaTauri, with a soft tyre advantage, coming out and down towards turn 1, putting his car on the outside. It's Octavio trying to go around the outside of Milo. And I think he's got the position done and dusted. Yes, he has before turn number 1. And he gets on the brakes down into second gear. And now he can push on. We'll see how far he can get up. He's got no penalties to his name. So Octavio could be an outside shout for the podium. We'll have to see how he gets on in the next couple of laps. Gerb's not really closing the gap in like I think he would want to. He's definitely gaining on the cars in front. Doesn't have that sort of turbo in here, but doesn't have the toe. I think is another thing. Quick penalty check. That's not the penalty button. That is. So it's 3 seconds for Baker, Gerbs and Ralph. 3 for Milo, 9 for Always Rick, 6 for Calais, 12 for Reese Bear, and then 3 for Skipper and Felix. Though 3 seconds for Baker, Gerbs and Ralph could save the McLarens here. They could still be looking at a 1-2 in this one. And they can just keep it clean. Because I think the problem is, by the time he gets towards turn 1, Asmith's just about caught up with Big Bear. Because he's got the DRS, because he's got the slipstream, it just means Baker can't get sort of right up to the back of him. I think just looking at it, Baker is running lower downforce. That's what I'm gauging from it all. He doesn't have to use overtake to sort of keep with him. DRS is enough. So I think he needs to sort of go for it, Baker, if he can get the chance, and he may be looking for it now. Octavio has set the fast lap of the race. Here comes Baker though. Asmith goes to the inside. He goes defensive. What can Baker do in this one? He's going to try and sweep around the outside McLaren driver. McLaren driver just has the high ground though. And it's a poor exit. It's a poor exit from Big Bear as well. Contact. He's pushed wide a little bit. He's trying to go on the grass. He's trying to keep ahead. Has he kept ahead of Asmith? Oh, Baker on the inside. Asmith trying to hang this one around the outside. They're side by side now as they come towards the top of the hill. The Renault driver still on the inside. Asmith, will he keep the nose in as they go down towards the next corner? He's still just about there, Asmith. Who can get on the traction a little bit better? They're still side by side somehow. And always Rick just about slots ahead, but Asmith tries to look around the outside. Can he get a bit of a switchback line? Not quite. He's gone a little bit too deep on that one. Baker just about gets ahead somewhere. But it was hectic there for a moment, wasn't it? Very, very close to a free car crash up at the front. And my oh my, it was Big Bear seemed to have a poor X as well. Maybe went a little bit too deep trying to watch the battle behind. Something like that. And Asmith already out of DRS range. Look who's already on the back of them all. It's Gerbs. Gerbs has appeared on the scene. He's now within DRS range. Oz Asmith, he's been biding his time. And it's now time to attack. And speaking of time to attack, here comes Baker. He's right on the back of Big Bear. Of course, penalties could come into play. It's DRS now for Baker. He switches to the inside. And the Renault driver is moving up into the race lead. This time around, he keeps ahead of Big Bear on this one, but there's no battles coming out of turn 4 this time around. Both of them overtake limited, I would say. So that could be interesting for the remainder of this race. Annoyed Gamer looking at the back of Always Rick now. He's going to go ahead down in towards turn 1, and the Alpha Tauri sets as fast as that. While in the process, the Renault driver tries to keep his nose in the door, and I think, well, that's what you get, a little bit of a squirm for keeping your nose in the door like that. As Calais locks up into turn number 1, skipping us another 3-second time penalty. And Big Bear kept very, very close to Baker. We'll have to see how this one plays out. Gerbs made a moment somewhere. Gerbs had a moment. He doesn't have damage, so no. He wouldn't suggest there's been no contact. Baker, though, is DRS and overtake for Big Bear. What's Baker going to do to defend this one? Big Bear will be coming at him. He's not going to maybe try and send one down the inside. He's going to think about it. He's still there. Baker sort of does a good job to he sort of didn't defend, but he did, but he goes a little bit too deep. That could compromise him, though. Big Bear caught him up too quickly, so didn't quite get the run that he would have wanted out of turn 3. Baker lets him have the inside, actually. DRS for the McLaren driver. Goes down the inside. What's Baker going to do, though? Baker's going to try the switchback. Can he make this one work? They're climbing up the hill. Baker goes on the inside, and we've seen that go wrong already this evening. And the Renault driver just about keeping it all in check. And he drops down to P2, but the gap between Asmith and Baker needs to stay less than 3 seconds for Asmith to get into P2. Clay's in the pit lane and getting some old hard. I think he might put on some softs, try and go for a bit of a fastest lap push, that kind of thing. Baker, a little bit compromised through that corner. Gap now dropping, or getting a little bit bigger, and he wants 0.5 of a second. Who get the best of the exits? It looks like it. I mean, that delta's just jumped up and down so much. I think it was Big Bear. Of course, Baker's penalty, as things stand, will mean he will drop down to P3. There's still a podium for the Renault man. And we'll see now, coming out of turn number 2, and through turn 3, how this one plays out. I think Baker looks like he wants to get the win on track at least. I think to get the actual win is going to be a big ask. Just down to the fact that gaining 3 seconds on Big Bear I think is going to be very difficult, especially when considering it's equal in terms of tyres and front wings. We're on board with the Renault driver as they make their way through this middle sector now, and we brief look behind. There's Asmith. He's keeping within touching distance of this battle as things stand. We said it before. It will be a McLaren 1-2 if things stay like this. And Octavio is still pushing on. His teammate as well, Annoyed Gamer, doing the exact same. What can happen this time around? Crankybot and Respirit swap positions. Crankybot almost up into the points. People got a really good run actually on that straight. See what the overtake's looking like. He's not got a lot at all. That's the championship winner, but down in towards turn 1 we go. And Baker gets another 3-second time penalty. No, that's game over, in my opinion. Where's he going to drop to now? Gerbs needs to get within 3 seconds, I believe. Where's the... I always pick the wrong one. What's penalties? Gerbs is on 3 seconds. Gerbs needs to get within 3 seconds, which he is almost within 3 seconds of Baker. This could be really interesting, the final battle for the podium now. Baker needs to try and just drive the wheels off that Renault because he's got Gerbs behind him who's looking to try and snatch that podium off him. It's very close. It literally is 3 seconds right now, the gap between the pair of them. It's going to be very close. We have 2 laps left when we start the next lap. So we've got about 2 and a third lap left, I'd say, of this one. Gerbs needs to be super quick. He's just within DRS range. It's so close at the moment. Sorry, within podium position range. He looks like he might be trying to find a way past Asmith now. Asmith doesn't have to worry. As long as he keeps within the hunt, he's relatively there or thereabouts. He will be P2 because of penalties. I think if you're Asmith, don't fight this one too hard. Play it sensibly. That was a bit of an awkward who's going where. Down towards turn 1. Gerbs, though, trying to go around the outside. I pray you don't fight this one too hard. He's going to try and keep the nose in. Yes, he is. There's contact. There's wheel banging. And Gerbs is going to get ahead. And the gap between Gerbs and Baker is 2.9. It's so close to a change in positions. Gerbs is gaining. He is gaining. I think Gerbs will be taking that final podium spot. I think as things stand, Asmith will be P2. Gerbs will be P3. He's going to stay where he is. On this one, Baker will drop down to 4th. Maybe even 5th. Octavio's on his way. Octavio's coming into the party as well. He's got no penalties. He's done a very, very good job to keep it clean in this one. It's going to be so close. The order could change so much for the final podium spot. And on those soft tyres, the advantage is definitely towards Octavio in the battle to try and gain some places. But Calais sets the fastest lap of the race. That's a very good time. 1 at 9.5 for Calais. We climb up the hill and look who's gaining. It's Octavio once again. Battle at the front. He's using everything he's got, Baker, to try and just keep going. He needs to try and find some time on Gerbs. But Gerbs, all Gerbs is doing is gaining on them. That's all that's happening. As we go now down towards turn 4 for the last time, I don't think Baker will be finding a way past. Conventionally, with a normal overtake, he might force a mistake from our championship leader. We've seen those have come very few and far between this season. We go into middle sector for the final time. The final middle sector will be driving the yellow flag somewhere. Asmith's out. No! Oh, Asmith, no! He's lost the car on the final lap of the race. The podium would have been his. He should have had P2. It's unfortunate for the McLaren driver. And unfortunately, the twist in the tail that we were predicting is not the one the McLaren team will be wanting to see. And I think Octavio could be... I think Gerbs actually might just keep hold of P2 now. I think I have to see how the penalty shake this one up. It's been a great drive, though, from Big Bear. He managed to fight off any threats from anywhere else. He's made the one-stop work. He's driven the hard tyres as long as they'll go. It's another win for Big Bear. Baker will cross the line in P2, but we'll have to see where he actually finishes. Gerbs comes across the line. He jumps up in a P2. Ralph comes across the line. He's got, I think, a few penalties to his name. He stays P4. Octavio goes P4. 2/10 off the podium, and it's a first podium for the Renault driver, Baker. And Milo comes towards the line, and it is going to be P6 for him in his Haas. Noyama, good final stint from him. He's put the work in, and I think he has fastest lap. We'll have a... I know Calais has fastest lap. He did have fastest lap for a time, which I think he would have been happy about. Always Rick hasn't quite gone his way today, but I think a solid drive all round, you would say, from him. And if I do my calculations, I believe Flying Val is P3 in the championship for this one. Crankybot, of course, unfortunately for him, he's going to only pick up the 1 point, as he has a beautiful end to season 7. Is that retirement? The wheels are still on the car, but nevertheless, fun way to end, and he does pick up the final point. Skipper is 11th, and that is the order. Actually, Reese Bear, I think, has crashed into one of the cars that already crossed the line. So, I mean, what a photo to end on for the final race of the season. Oh! Asmith got a puncher. Asmith got a puncher. They were pushing the tyres so much. And Asmith has got a puncher. Wow. Well, what a finale. What a finale. What a race. Credit to everyone in C6 this season. The past and present. They've not died. I've just... people who are no longer here in C6. Yeah, but brilliant drives from the top 3 today. Unfortunately, I haven't got time to do any interviews. However, it's been a great season. It's been a pleasure commentating the first season of C6. Again, another fantastic race today. They were giving it their absolute all. But again, brilliant stuff from Big Bear once again. No matter what was thrown at him, he comes through it and takes the win. Well done to Baker, first podium in RLH. That's going to help him gain a few positions in the championship, I would imagine. And to get your first podium on only your third race, very, very well done. To beat what his previous best was, 4th place. But that's been the final race in Season 7. We've got action coming up soon. We've got F2. We've got the F1 Short Series. I think we've got maybe some more little events happening. So keep in touch. We're going to keep in touch. Not going to go anywhere. Season 8 starts the new year. It's a bit of time to practice, and we'll come back for the next big F1 season next year. But make sure you keep an eye on RLH. We've got quite a few good things coming up, the new GT3 series as well. So we'll see everybody very, very soon, and thank you for watching once again.